So the Republican-led House of Representatives did something that a Republican-led House doesn't usually do. They voted in favor of gun control legislation. The House passed a 10-year extension for the 1988 Undetectable Firearms Act, which bans firearms that can evade metal detectors and X-ray machines. Now, while the House didn't modify the legislation, Senate Democrats do plan on adding a few provisions. New York Senator Chuck Schumer is putting forth a bill expanding the law to target plastic guns made with 3D printing technology. So, Zach, are we surprised to see, some kind of a vote from Republicans when it comes to gun control, or is it just because this is a renewal and something that's been around for so long that there's really no shock here?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, actually, because this is a law that dates back to 1988. So Republicans in the past have voted for this. It hasn't been a big thing that gun control opponents have made a fuss about. But in the past, gun control opponents haven't made a big fuss about like background checks for criminals or people who are mentally ill. And this year, obviously, that became a big deal for the NRA and other groups. So the fact that Republicans were willing to cast some sort of vote against literally undetectable firearms, which sounds pretty scary, so the sort of thing that you maybe want to have some public safety regulations around, I think is unfortunately a sign of progress given how bad the gun control debate has degenerated in Congress. But obviously there are some improvements that Democrats think need to be made. A lot of these plastic guns that are being made right now have just like a little chamber where you can put in a big hunk of metal that says, okay, this will now set off an alarm, a metal detector. You could just take that chunk of metal out, and then your plastic gun will be fine. So the renewal doesn't necessarily mean anything unless they make some significant upgrades to the text of the legislation.
Yeah, well, it's pretty scary stuff, But
secret guns.
Chuck Schumer, I think, can be a little bit of a fearmonger at times, especially with 3D printing technology.
Chuck, come on. Chuck's great.
He tends to go a little bit overboard, but I'm with him on this one. I think that the guns should be detectable, and you shouldn't just be able to, have a piece of plastic and remove it entirely. Scary stuff. But anyway,
secret guns are freaky.
Yeah. So do you think that anyone, that the Senate Republicans are going to go for Chuck Schumer's expansion there?
I mean, I think they have the opportunity to make an argument here that this doesn't count as gun control. This is just a reasonable public safety initiative. It's not in any way impugning on innovation or anything like that. This is just a reasonable sort of public safety thing to do. The question is whether or not hardliners start freaking out about it. So far, they haven't. I think unless the NRA decides to put up a real fight over this, this type of upgrade should be a common sense thing that even the wildest anti-gun control Republicans can agree to.